In my 30 years covering the NFL, I have never, and I mean never, seen anything like what just happened in Cleveland. A fifth-round rookie quarterback literally walked out on his head coach, and now the entire organization is in complete free fall.
This isn't just a quarterback controversy anymore. This is organizational Armageddon, and we're watching it unfold in real time.
We're talking about Shedeur Sanders, not some veteran superstar, a rookie who just told Kevin Stefanski, "I'm done with this," and walked out of the building while his teammates watched in stunned silence.
And here's what makes this absolutely explosive. This could change how rookies approach coaching authority forever. We're about to break down every shocking detail of this unprecedented meltdown.
Welcome to this emergency edition of our podcast. I'm Andrew, joined by my colleague Tom. And folks, we had to get on here immediately because what happened in Cleveland today transcends typical NFL drama.
I've been in front offices, I've seen organizational dysfunction, but this is a masterclass in how everything can collapse in a single moment.
For those just tuning in, here's what we know. Shedeur Sanders, the Browns' rookie quarterback, officially departed team headquarters following what sources are calling a heated confrontation with head coach Kevin Stefanski. No explanation, no warning. He simply gathered his belongings and drove away.
In the aftermath, Kevin Stefanski held a press conference that was barely contained fury. We're talking about a coach who's built his reputation on discipline and culture, watching everything crumble before his eyes.
Today, we're going to break down exactly what happened, why this represents something far more catastrophic than typical rookie frustration, and what this means for the future of player-coach relationships across the entire NFL.
We'll examine the psychological warfare that's been building for weeks, the ownership pressure that's creating impossible situations, and why this could define not just Cleveland's season, but the franchise for years to come.
Because let me be crystal clear, this isn't just about one player or one coach. This is about fundamental power structures in professional football being challenged in ways we've never seen before. Lewis, let's start with the moment everything went nuclear. Paint the picture for our audience of what actually happened in that meeting room.
According to multiple sources, this culminated during the morning offensive installation. Stefanski was questioning Sanders' execution of a third down package against the scout defense. Now, this is normal coaching.
Normal coaching. What happened next was anything but normal.
Exactly. Words were exchanged, voices elevated, and then this is where it gets unprecedented. Sanders allegedly stood up, removed his playbook wristband, and declared, "I'm done with this."
He removed his wristband. That's not frustration. That's a declaration of war. And then what does he do? He walks out of the meeting room while his head coach is still talking.
But here's where it gets even more explosive. Stefanski followed him into the hallway, demanding Sanders return immediately. Witnesses describe what happened next as unprecedented. A veteran coach literally shouting at a rookie quarterback while position coaches desperately tried to intervene.
And Sanders? He never stopped walking, never acknowledged the coach's demands. He continued toward the parking lot while the entire building watched speechlessly.
I've been around this league for decades. I've seen heated exchanges. I've seen players storm out of meetings. But a rookie quarterback completely ignoring his head coach's direct orders while walking out of the facility, that's crossing a line that's never been crossed before.
And you know what the most damaging part is? The teammates watching from the parking lot. Some trying to call him, others just stunned. The offensive coordinator sprinting outside trying to intervene but arriving too late.
This wasn't a private disagreement that got leaked. This was public humiliation of the coaching staff in front of the entire organization. The psychological damage from that moment alone is irreparable.
And for those thinking this is just typical rookie growing pains, no. This is a fundamental challenge to the hierarchical structure that professional football is built upon.
Now, let's talk about Kevin Stefanski's response, because what we saw publicly was just the tip of the iceberg.
That press conference was barely contained volcanic eruption. The man was trembling with rage while trying to maintain professional composure.
According to team insiders, what we witnessed was the controlled version of the actual fury unleashed behind closed doors. One assistant coach reportedly said, "I've never seen Kevin like that in 20 years of coaching."
Listen to his exact words. "We've done everything to support him, everything within reason, accommodating transition, managing expectations, creating opportunities. But at some point, you have to put the team first. That's non-negotiable."
That's not disappointment. That's betrayal from Stefanski's perspective. When he said difficult decisions become necessary, his jaw was clenched, his eyes narrowed. This man felt personally disrespected.
And when reporters pressed him about Sanders' specific grievances, his composure cracked. "Grievances," he responded, voice rising. We're discussing professional football, not therapy sessions.
That moment right there when he said champions embrace accountability rather than abandoning responsibility when challenged. His knuckles were white, gripping the podium. The diplomatic facade slipped, revealing genuine fury beneath.
But here's what makes this so explosive, Lewis. Sources claim that privately, expletives flew, voices cracked, hands trembled with barely contained rage. This wasn't just professional frustration, this was personal.
And then came the emergency team meeting. Stefanski allegedly delivered what sources describe as a scorched earth directive. He supposedly declared that anyone who can't commit completely should follow Sanders out the door.
This organization moves forward with or without individual players. That's what he told his team. But Lewis, here's the problem. The locker room immediately divided.
Exactly. Receivers who developed chemistry with Sanders expressed visible frustration. One prominent pass catcher allegedly confronted Stefanski directly, questioning the coaching decisions that contributed to this situation.
Meanwhile, defensive players tried maintaining neutrality while privately acknowledging concerns about leadership stability. Even offensive linemen, traditionally Stefanski supporters, seemed conflicted.
As one veteran stated anonymously, the locker room feels broken right now. Half the guys support Coach, half think he's lost the plot completely.
And that is how you destroy a season before it even begins. When your own players are questioning your leadership publicly, you've lost the foundation of everything. But this explosion didn't happen in a vacuum. The friction has been building for weeks, and now we're learning the shocking details of what led to this moment.
Sources indicate that Sanders felt increasingly marginalized following the Browns' embarrassing loss to the Rams. Despite completing 70% of his passes and generating 3 touchdowns, he faced disproportionate criticism during film sessions.
Wait. You're telling me this young man threw for 3 touchdowns, completed 70% of his passes, and Stefanski was still criticizing him?
According to one offensive player, Coach basically blamed Shedeur for everything while protecting everyone else. It felt personal, not professional. Stefanski allegedly highlighted every incompletion, every protection adjustment missed, every audible questioned, while minimizing positive contributions.
That's not coaching, Lewis. That's systematic undermining. And it gets worse. Despite ownership's clear preference for establishing Sanders as the franchise cornerstone, Stefanski continued splitting first-team opportunities equally with backup quarterbacks.
Sometimes Sanders received fewer quality repetitions than journeyman veterans. The message seemed deliberately antagonistic. You're not special despite your draft position, despite your talent, despite organizational investment.
And then came the public humiliation. Following the Rams' defeat, Stefanski's press conference comments targeted Sanders specifically without mentioning his name.
Young quarterbacks must learn that winning requires more than individual statistics. Leadership means accepting responsibility, elevating teammates, executing game plans rather than freelancing.
Everyone knew who he was talking about. National media interpreted those comments as a direct shot at the rookie quarterback. Sanders supposedly watched those clips repeatedly, growing increasingly frustrated with the perceived scapegoating.
This transcends typical coach-player tension. This represents a fundamental philosophical collision. Stefanski embodies old-school coaching principles, hierarchical authority, earned respect, systematic development,
while Sanders personifies the new generation of athlete empowerment. Immediate impact expectations, brand consciousness, unwillingness to accept traditional limitations.
Neither approach is necessarily wrong, but compatibility proves impossible when positions become entrenched. And here's what makes this truly explosive. The generational divide we're seeing in the fan base mirrors this exact conflict.
Younger supporters predominantly back Sanders, viewing this through a player empowerment lens. Older fans generally support Stefanski, emphasizing discipline, tradition, organizational hierarchy.
His quarterback controversy is becoming a referendum on fundamental values that transcend football entirely. We're talking about authority, respect, institutional power in the modern era.
And you know what the most damaging part is? Both sides dug in so deep that compromise became impossible. Sanders interpreted every criticism as intentional disrespect. Stefanski saw every pushback as insubordination.
When you have a coach who won't bend and a player who won't break, something has to give. Unfortunately for Cleveland, what gave was the entire organizational structure. Stephen A., we need to talk about the elephant in the room, Jimmy Haslam's reaction, because this is where the power dynamics get truly explosive.
Sources claim Haslam went ballistic upon learning Sanders departed. We're talking about the owner who personally championed Sanders' selection, who proclaimed him the franchise savior, watching his investment literally drive away.
According to witnesses, Haslam immediately contacted Stefanski demanding an explanation, allegedly screaming through a phone conversation they described as volcanic. The owner was furious that his hand-picked quarterback was gone.
And here's where it gets really messy. Haslam supposedly demanded Stefanski fix the situation immediately or face consequences. The coach's authority wasn't just challenged by the player, but by ownership fury.
This puts general manager Andrew Berry in an impossible position. He advocated for Sanders' selection despite scouting department reservations. He supported Stefanski's culture-building efforts. Now both positions are untenable simultaneously.
Sources indicate Berry spent the afternoon frantically attempting damage control, calling Sanders' representatives, meeting with Stefanski, updating ownership, managing media inquiries. One front office member said Berry looked like he aged 5 years in 5 hours.
But here's the contractual nightmare. Stephen A. Sanders remains under rookie contract. He can't simply quit without consequences. If he refuses to return, the Browns could pursue fines, suspensions, potentially voiding guarantees.
But those hardball tactics risk permanent relationship destruction, negative publicity, long-term ramifications. However, if the Browns capitulate entirely, Stefanski's authority evaporates permanently.
Every player would recognize that the coach backed down when challenged. The precedent becomes catastrophic for organizational discipline. It's a lose-lose situation created by poor leadership at every level.
And the timing couldn't be worse. They face division rival Pittsburgh on Sunday. Game preparation requires absolute focus, complete unity, organizational alignment. Instead, chaos reigns supreme.
Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz reportedly told his staff, "Prepare like normal while everything burns around us." Even the gallows humor masked genuine concern about competitive readiness.
League executives are watching with fascination and horror. One NFC general manager said confidentially, "This is exactly why quarterback evaluation extends beyond physical tools. You're drafting personalities, not just players."
Cleveland is becoming a cautionary tale discussed throughout league circles, an example of organizational malpractice everyone seeks to avoid.
And the most tragic part? This represents Cleveland's endless cycle of dysfunction preventing sustainable success. Another wasted year, another quarterback controversy, another coaching casualty.
Let's talk about the broader implications, because this situation is sending shockwaves throughout the entire NFL.
Players around the league are watching intently, recognizing this could establish unprecedented precedent regarding rookie leverage. If Sanders successfully forces organizational change through departure, it changes everything.
This transcends Cleveland toward a league-wide philosophical battle about power structures, authority, and player empowerment in the modern NFL.
And behind the scenes, desperate negotiations continue. Sanders' agent reportedly presented demands including a guaranteed starting position, increased input regarding play calling, and a public apology from Stefanski.
While Stefanski allegedly responded with his own proposal, Sanders returns immediately, apologizes to the team, accepts whatever role the coaching staff determines. Neither position suggests compromise is possible.
The psychological dimensions are fascinating. Stefanski's entire coaching identity relies upon organizational discipline, systematic development, hierarchical respect. Capitulating obliterates his foundational principles.
His credibility among assistants and veterans throughout the league depends upon maintaining authority. Yet ownership pressure intensifies hourly. Haslam wants Sanders playing Sunday regardless of circumstances.
Meanwhile, Sanders is equally entrenched psychologically. The fifth-round selection who proved doubters wrong refuses accepting perceived disrespect. Every criticism feels personal given pre-draft skepticism.
Walking away represents the ultimate declaration, I deserve better than this treatment. Returning without significant changes means accepting diminished status, acknowledging Stefanski's authority, and compromising competitive pride.
And the media coverage is intensifying exponentially. National reporters descending upon Cleveland, ESPN, Fox, NFL Network, establishing continuous coverage. Every update generates breaking news alerts.
One prominent insider admitted, "We're basically guessing. But controversy drives engagement. This story's goal for ratings." The speculation machine is operating at maximum capacity.
But here's what everyone's missing. The competitive implications are devastating regardless of resolution. Even if Sanders returns tomorrow, trust has evaporated, chemistry is shattered, and focus is fractured.
Opposing defenses smell blood and recognize organizational vulnerability. Pittsburgh's defensive coordinator allegedly told his players, "They're imploding. We just need to stay patient and let dysfunction destroy them."
As we wrap up this emergency podcast, I need our audience to understand the gravity of what we're witnessing in Cleveland.
This isn't just a quarterback controversy anymore. This is organizational Armageddon that could define the Browns franchise for years to come. When your fifth-round rookie quarterback literally walks out and your head coach publicly explodes, you're not recovering quickly from that.
The immediate future remains uncertain. Will Sanders return before Sunday? Can Stefanski maintain authority? Does ownership intervention become inevitable? These questions lack answers currently, but what's certain is that Cleveland has achieved new dysfunction levels previously considered impossible.
Professional football demands organizational alignment, clear authority, and unified purpose. Cleveland currently demonstrates the opposite: power struggles, philosophical divisions, and individual agendas superseding collective goals. The most talented roster becomes irrelevant amid such dysfunction.
Championships require more than ability. Success demands cohesion, trust, and shared commitment. The Browns currently embody none of these characteristics.
Whether through reconciliation, termination, or trade, resolution will arrive eventually, but the scars remain permanent. Trust broken, relationships severed, credibility destroyed. The Browns are beginning another rebuild before the current one concluded.
This represents Cleveland's true tragedy, an endless cycle of dysfunction preventing sustainable success. The Stefanski-Sanders explosion transcends typical NFL drama toward an organizational case study of how everything collapses when foundational principles crumble.
A head coach who can't maintain authority, a rookie quarterback who won't accept it, ownership creating impossible situations, and a fan base exhausted from perpetual disappointment. This combination guarantees catastrophic failure.
The Browns are currently providing a masterclass in organizational self-destruction, and the entire league is watching with horror and fascination.
Before we sign off, we want to hear from you. Are you Team Stefanski or Team Sanders? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, but keep it respectful.
And here's what I really want to know. Do you think this sets a dangerous precedent for rookie players challenging coaching authority? Or is this exactly what needed to happen to modernize outdated power structures?
Also, predict what happens next. Does Sanders return? Does Stefanski get fired? Does ownership clean house entirely? Your predictions in the comments.
If you found this breakdown as shocking as we did, smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We'll be covering every twist and turn of this unprecedented situation.
And don't miss our follow-up episode tomorrow, where we'll have exclusive insider information about the ongoing negotiations and what Sunday's game against Pittsburgh might look like amid this chaos.
This is Andrew and Tom reminding you that in the NFL, you never know when everything can change in an instant. The Browns just proved that in the most dramatic way possible.
Thanks for joining us for this emergency podcast. We'll see you next time, hopefully with some resolution to this unprecedented mess in Cleveland.
Until then, stay tuned, stay engaged, and remember, this is why we love this crazy league. Peace.